Hey guys, I'm downstairs in the basement where I usually record and my son is playing with our dog, so please forgive any background noise, but I just discovered a technique that's new to me and I'm obsessed. So I wanted to make a quick video to share with you guys. So I'm going to put you on fast forward and show you what I found, and I hope you guys like it. So like I said, this is a technique that I've never tried before. It's probably not new. There's nothing new under the sun, but I was just messing around earlier with a tag to make a bookmark because I started a new Bible reading plan today, and I decided, hey, I want to try something new, and I did, and I loved it. So I'm going to replicate the process for you guys. I'm just using Distress Oxides. That was Twisted Citron. This is Mowed Lawn, and this is just like a no-name brand craft tag, and a Dollar Tree makeup brush, and I'm just trying to blend the colors to get kind of a smooth blend. And that's a post-it note. I don't like to put my fingers right on the ink because the oil from the fingertips can sometimes lift off the ink and leave fingerprints or whatever. So that's just a sticky note that I'm using. And a trusty baby wipe to clean off the brush. I'm just going to add a little more Twisted Citron. I got out Wilted Violet. I thought I might use that, but I was just really feeling the greens. So anyway, I'm going to clean off the workspace and give it a quick blast with my heat tool. I should have gone longer because I did really use a lot of ink. But lesson learned, hindsight is 20/20. So I'm going to set that back down, and then I'm going to grab a stencil. It's a Tim Holtz stencil. Oh, there's my new heat tool. Now here's a funny story. This is new to me, and there are two settings. There's a high setting and a low setting, and the low setting will not melt embossing powder. And I was filming this video, and I was using that thing for probably 4 minutes, and it would not melt, and I was like, what in the world? And finally I realized, oh, it's on low. So you're welcome for cutting out all that ridiculous footage. So here's a couple tricks that I love using stencils and texture paste. And so I place down the card, and then I put the stencil on top of it, and then I find a place where to tape it down where the tape won't interfere with the negative space of the stencil, or the space of the stencil. And then see, like right there's a tiny bit of tape that's poking through the corner of like that plus sign. So I just use the end of a paintbrush, like the wooden end, to like push that tape back under the stencil so that my graphic is uniform. Because I'm embossing, I have a piece of paper at the ready. That's my Twisted Citron that I pressed out on my glass media mat, and this is my Ranger texture paste, and I'm just going to mix them together with a palette knife that came in a gelatos kit that I got at Hobby Lobby, I think. And because the texture paste is white, it's not a perfect match. It comes a little yellow, but I'm just going to gently apply that through the stencil. And this is sped up a little bit, so this is not real time. I'm definitely more gentle with my stencils. They can be a little flimsy sometimes, and I've broken more than one. So I've learned to be a more patient crafter. So I get all that texture paste down, I wipe it off right away, and then I clean off that workspace and dry it with my shirt because I'm awesome like that. So if you're not used to using embossing powder, you take the wet medium or the paper with the wet medium on it, and you put it on top of a scrap piece of paper, and then you dump your embossing powder on it, and you lift up, in this case, the tag, and tap off the excess. Now this was a mistake. Don't do this. I pushed it down too much, and you'll see it was a little bit cakey, and I made it work. It turned out fine. But, in the first one that I did, some of the embossing powder blew away because it didn't adhere to the texture paste. So I was like, oh, I'll just smash it down, not thinking that it would smash into the damp ink as well. So here I am just tapping it a lot, and then I get a little fluffy paintbrush, and I just go between the texture paste, and it's a little persnickety, but it's not a big deal. So I'm just cleaning off that excess embossing powder that's like in the negative space there with a fluffy brush. And I went ahead and sped up to where I'm heat embossing it. And this is the hack. So I have the embossing glaze here in cracked pistachio. And what I did was I used my heat tool to reactivate the clear embossing powder that I put on the twisted citron texture paste. And I just wanted to see how it would turn out. So I reheat it up, and then I pour the embossing powder on it, or the embossing glaze, just to see. And the effect is incredibly similar. So if you have distress inks or distress oxides, and you don't really want to invest in the embossing glaze line right now, this is a really good way to get a similar effect with products that you already have. I've also done this with really juicy ink pads and clear embossing powder. So give it a try. I hope you have fun.